Hey everybody, it's me, Brendon Small from Galaktikon from Dethklok, and you're watching Loudwire. So what was the first song or riff that made me want to play guitar? There were a million. There was a Prince song called I Would Never Want to Take the Place of Your Man. There was riffs from 5150, but the song that made my head explode was this one by Guns N' Roses called Sweet Child O' Mine. I think I heard that at the orthodontist when I was getting my braces tightened, and it made the pain go away. And it was really nice, and I couldn't believe his guitar sounded so good, and it made me so interested in why his guitar sounded good, what guitar he was playing. That's what got me playing. I couldn't take it any longer. I had to learn this song, but I wasn't ready yet. So what was the first riff I ever played? So my buddy Renzo Staiano, good friend of mine still, he invited me over to his house after school when we were in junior high, and he said he could play guitar. And I didn't believe him. I thought it was impossible. And he showed me two things that day that changed my mind, made it possible. One of them was a blues riff, just like a... He showed me how to mute that day. He showed me that if you just play two notes, you don't have to play every note on the guitar. You don't have to play huge chords all the time. You just play two. And I was like, my mind is completely blown. And then he showed me this, a song that I was too naive to know what it was at the time. He just showed me this riff. And that was, I was like, what is that? And he played me the whole song, and I was like, okay, that's really cool. That's Black Sabbath. Everyone's been talking about it. Now I get it. And the other thing that was really cool about that was that it was just two notes. It was two notes played together at the same time, which is a chord, a power chord. And you can move it around everywhere. And that was an important lesson because it meant you could start writing your own songs. You could start mixing up the notes, and that's how music's written. Were there any techniques that I struggled with starting out on guitar? Absolutely, yes. They're all very hard. They're very difficult. Everything's hard. But I knew I was listening to Van Halen, I was listening to Yngwie, I was listening to Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and I wanted to learn some of the, So I wanted to learn that stuff. I wanted to learn Maiden stuff. I wanted to learn all that stuff, and I realized kind of early on that the less you press, the less hard you play, the easier the riff would come. The easier the idea would come. So you didn't have to hurt yourself to play guitar, and I noticed some of my friends that could shred would be playing very lightly, We're barely touching the guitar at all. But the hardest thing is, for me, was just making sure a chord didn't buzz. What were some of my favorite riffs and songs to play when learning guitar? I would never play a full song. I would only play bits and pieces of songs. So again, going back. So I'd play like part of that. I would play part of, and I couldn't get to the next part. Part of Metallica, part of Battery. I would play, I never had the connective tissue to put all these things together. I had the Paul Gilbert instructional video, so I would just go. I would just play that all day. My brother and sister shared a wall with me on either side. And they came to me one day and they were like, can you please play something else? Can you play anything else, please? I don't want to listen to that anymore. It doesn't sound like music. And they were like, is this what you plan on playing on guitar for the rest of your life? And I said, I think it is. I think I'd rather play a lot of stupid notes that are really fast. And this is the only way that you get good, if you slow it down and play it. Paul Gilbert riffs. Thank you, Paul Gilbert. And my family's doesn't like you as much as I do. What was the first riff I wrote for my band? Well, the first song that I wrote was a Dethklok song, and that was the theme song, and it goes like this. And so forth. That or Awaken was an early song that I wrote too. And then I wrote a bunch of other stuff that would become Galaktikon songs, because it was too melodic and not heavy enough. What are some of my favorite Galaktikon Dethklok riffs? They're never the fast ones. They're always the ones that are like, have more epic chord kind of stuff, like Go Into the Water, like. And like the intro, I like those chords a lot. I'm tuned to standard tuning. Normally for Dethklok, I would be in C or Galaktikon C. Another favorite song or riff that I like is there's a song called "Crush the Industry," but it's also just the slowest part of the song that I like the most. That I really like a lot. There's a song, it's a little technical riff from Galaktikon 1 called Prophecy of the Laser Witch, which is a very tricky harmonic riff that I like a lot. Very tricky, very temperamental riff, but I like that and I like the chords that go under it. And that riff is, what I'm doing is just tapping the top fret, 12th fret, and then hammering on 5 and 7. And that's a derivative of Eddie Van Halen's Mean Street. So that's where I got that idea. Total ripoff. Different notes, though. You can't get me. No one can get me for that. You can't put me away. What are some of my favorite riffs from my most recent album? Well, the most recent thing I did was I put out a single that features this guitar, and it's got the same name. It's called Ghost Horse, and it's available, the guitar and the single. But I did something that's kind of fun, based off of a riff that I did on Galaktikon 2, a song called Icarus 666. I stole that style back from myself, which was... So it's this thing, but it's also got this fun, epic kind of intro too that... And on that song, what I'm doing is I'm doing hitting 2 downstrokes, and then I guess an add 2 chord. You can see that. Anyway, thank you. I think I did everything. I think. I'll see you next time in the internet.